recording
Good.
and go live. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land, and also like to welcome my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing?
Yeah, doing good.
Been two
Great
whole
to be
weeks.
back. I know, 2 full weeks. You did a nice job, a nice solo show. It's great to be back. But it was also great to spend time with the missus, celebrating year number 13.
Yeah, lucky number 13. Proud of you guys, by the way. That's kind of amazing. Yeah, most people don't get that far. The statistics say you guys are better than most.
Yep, we're still going, going strong.
Good.
But it's back, Mike. We're here on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
No, Friday afternoon is it's getaway day. It's getaway day from work as wrapping things up before we hit the holiday weekend. So
Yeah, I had the day off today, all day today, so I had a 4-day week. I get a 4-day weekend for that, and then yeah.
yeah, mine was more of a half a day today, as the afternoon portion was a department like Christmas party.
Hey, that's
So
all good.
yeah. So anywho, Mike, we're talking NFL, and as we got to look at the NFL, and the two topics coming out of the NFL was Oilers throwbacks, but also looking at the Bears' ugly season.
Yeah. Plus, Rich, we got to talk about the biggest spending spree we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, those Dodgers are just printing money,
Yeah.
left and right to sign some free agents and improve their team.
And we're also going to talk Matt Singer at the end of the day. But Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, why don't you go ahead and roll that intro?
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Rich, before we get into the poll question and all that stuff, we're both we're in the holiday season. I'm drinking eggnog. Are you an eggnog guy?
I'm not an eggnog guy. I'm not.
I am.
It
But
almost looks like the little mug from Christmas Vacation, but then I remembered it's to the moose antlers
Yeah, moose
on each
antlers.
side. Kind of looks like that.
then it gets
But
around
no,
mustache
it
and-
yeah, and we kind of have Christmas or Christmas sweateries. You actually have a sweater on.
Yeah. Yours is
I went
awesome. It looks like Bigfoot and a dinosaur tackling a dinosaur while Santa flies away. I can't. You pull it down so I can
It's
see the whole thing.
Sasquatch. It's Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
The
With
Sasquatch with dinosaurs. So
okay.
yeah.
I love it. It's great. So let's get into the show. By the way, if you are watching or you're listening, comment whether or not you like eggnog. We want to know. That's not a poll question. It's you commenting. Now, let's go to the poll question, Rich. Rich, you bravely put avocado toast against
Bacon.
against bacon.
Well, if anything, Mike, something had to go up against what we would probably agree would be the number one overall seed if we were going to rank and seed these.
Oh yeah.
So
Easily
somebody
number overall.
something had to be sacrificed to bacon. Somebody had to lose the bacon.
Yep.
But Mike, I obviously voted bacon. Did you vote bacon?
Obviously.
Okay.
I mean, I've
Did
never
you
had
have-
avocado toast. I'm sure avocado toast is delicious. I love avocados. I love toast. I love when you put like salmon on top. Sounds delicious. I love that combination. That sounds amazing, and I would love it. But it's not bacon. Now,
No, I really don't like avocado. I mean, avocados, just eating them, even if you had on a piece of bread to go with it, or thinking that, or maybe it's like turning it into more of an avocado spread and putting it on top of something that just doesn't sound that appealing to me. So
do you like? You don't like guacamole?
I like a creamy guacamole, but not.
Okay.
But guacamole, if I had guacamole, queso, and salsa in front of me, guacamole is probably going to be the last thing I'm going to go to.
That in and of itself sounds like a poll question, by the way. That does. Just
guacamole, queso, or salsa?
Yeah, just somewhere in the banks of our brains that needs to live as what do you dip your chips in? Guacamole. Because for me, actually, guacamole is the number one hitter on that. But I love guacamole. Anyway, we're talking bacon and avocado toast. Rich, 28-3. Three brave souls were willing to admit the deliciousness that is avocado toast.
Ooh, okay.
I may not agree with it, but that's because I haven't had it. Like, I'm sure if I had a good avocado toast, by the way, maybe they're talking avocado toast with bacon on top.
Maybe. And
that could be awesome. Those three lovely ladies are great. I love all three of these ladies as good friends of mine. Brooke Rice, Amy Fink Vasquez, and Danielle Marie is what she goes by on Facebook. I won't put her real name out there, but good job, you guys. You stood up against the masses. You lost, but you stood up in the face of utter someone else's opinion. And good for you for having your opinion and sticking to it. Knowing all three of those ladies, they legitimately would be willing to go up against all 28 of the people that voted for bacon in an argument on why avocado. Like, I know all three of them, and they all three would have a solid argument and stand firm and hold their ground. So, yeah, good on you guys for doing that. But let's give the shout out for the 28 people. 31 people voted in this poll. I think that's the most we've had in a long time, at least.
I think so. Go ahead and give those 28 names, Mike.
Jordan Stroop, Solomon Stroop, Jeffrey Stroop, me, Charles Owen, Beth Hoffman, Greg Sackerson, Debbie Washburn, Scranton Washburn, Sue Hart, Keaton Werner, Ashley Maria Shriepeck, Becky Craig, Eisen Stroop, Josh Perry, Josh Hendricks, AJ Hendricks, Danielle Hart, Gail Welchman, Brad Burns, Brandon Close, Craig Johnson, Mark Hendricks, Joel Wise, Pete Kincaid, you, another Josh, this time Josh Couture, Nathan Ross, and Clifton Harmon Jr. All of those people voted for bacon. Wow.
Yep. Thanks for everybody that voted. You can catch this week's poll question, which I'll put up once we get done recording today, over on the Fans of Balls and Sticks or Balls and Sticks, our show page over on the Facebook. This week's poll question, we're going to go with Rice Krispies versus Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah. So, Rich,
did we have any? Did we have any comments on last week's poll? Forgot to get to that.
I forgot to look. Let me get to it.
So while Mike's looking that up, if you do comment on the on our polls, we'll make sure to give you your comment shout out as well as these shout outs, for voting in the poll. I think the comments would be on the one that got shared to your page, Mike, if that'll help you find it.
Okay, sorry, I had to kick somebody off of our Facebook page, off of the Fans of Balls and Sticks page. Oh yeah. Solomon Stroop commented, Solomon's doctor has entered the chat. Pete Kincaid said, why is this a question? Bacon? Brad Burns, this has to be a number 1 seed going against a 16 seed. 100% accurate on all of those accounts, guys. Solomon, your cholesterol is way too high. You need to eat that avocado toast. I love you.
All right. So thanks to Pete Eisen and
Solomon.
Solomon and Greg for commenting on the poll. All right, Mike. So let's go over to the Gridiron and review week number 15, which you had to fill in and give people predictions
Yeah.
without my assistance or much insight on why I picked who I picked. So
I gave what insights you gave.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. All right, so Mike, I took the Rams over the Commanders as my lock of the week to get right, as I've been on a little bit of a losing streak with those locks, and it came through with a Rams victory, 28-20, getting me up to 7-8.
Rich, I did not let the Chiefs loss 2 weeks ago scare me off from picking the Chiefs over the Patriots yet again, picking on those Chiefs. And they pulled it off 27-17, bringing me back to 9-6. Rich, for the upsets of the week, you went with the Giants over the Saints. Man, that was a sad pick for you, as the Saints destroyed the Giants 24-6, dropping you to 8-7.
Yeah, I was having problems finding an upset that I thought would come through. So it was kind of like I was maybe picking the lesser of two, trying to find something that could hit, and it just didn't work out.
And the week before, I realized as I was in the middle of the show, but I had already typed it up, so I didn't want to change it. In the middle of the show, I realized that I had picked the Texans. The Chiefs is my lock 2 weeks in a row, and the Texans is my upset 2 weeks in a row. Both times, the week prior, I got nothing correct. This week, I got both correct.
That's right, as the Texans beat the Titans 19-16 in overtime. And when I heard that, I was kind of scratching my head, wondering, he does know that C.J. Stroud's out with a concussion.
I did, actually.
Okay.
I did.
Okay. And that's probably what made it more of an upset, because I think the pick spread could have gone the other way if Stroud was playing, but it was still a victory. So you're up to 9-6. I dropped to 8-7 on my locks. Mike, how did the Bears do?
Lord Rich, the Bears versus the Browns. The Bears lost 20-17 in a terrible way.
Yeah, I was watching this game. Watched most of this game. We go to the we had tickets to go see Wonka in the like a 4:00 showing. So we get there. They had thrown the long, deep pass to Amari Cooper that tied the game, and I'm thinking, oh well, there's time. They just have to bleed the clock, get down the field, kick the game-winning field goal, go home. No worries. And then we're standing in line, get our snacks before the movie, and I see Browns win.
Yep.
What happened?
Yep.
Do you think we'll talk a little bit more once we review Thursday night? But so we'll just table this. We'll table the discussion on the Bears.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, and then we had Thursday night football. It was a 30-22 Rams victory, moving me up to an impressive 14-4 for Thursday night football.
Pretty impressive.
For Thursday games. Mike, you had the Saints, and you're at 500 at 9-9.
Okay. So, Rich, let's first, as we are Bears fans, let's first talk about that ugly game and the season overall. Like,
there's still some time on the season.
But they've officially been eliminated from the playoffs. This is why I call it an ugly day.
Oh no! I think they
had to win last week's game. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I could have swore I saw something on my Facebook feed that was showing that there were 4 teams that could be eliminated this week, and the Bears were one of them. But if they're not eliminated, their odds of making the playoffs just took a really it's a really long shot now, and they're going to need a lot more help than they already did before the Browns game.
So everything I'm seeing says they were within 1 game of making the playoffs we're going into week 15. Okay, so yeah, they're
going to need a lot of help.
I mean, they need
a lot of help.
Everybody else to lose basically in order for them to get in.
Yeah, but it has been an ugly season. You had games that it looked like they should have won with as far ahead as they were. The Browns game being one of them. The game in Detroit, or was that the game in Detroit, the Denver game where they were ahead by a large amount, and then they let it slip away.
Yeah, it's a little terrible.
A frustrating season.
Yeah.
So I guess the one question I've seen come across with a couple other pundits chiming in on it is, which would you rather have? Would you take the quarterback number 1 and take the best player available with your second first round pick? And trade Justin Fields for maybe a second? Or do you trade down again and get 3 first round picks this year? 24, that'd be 24, 25, 26, and keep Fields. But I think there's still an option C, or do you take the best players available where your picks fall and you keep Fields?
I think number one, I think you trade down. I think Fields can be the answer, especially if we end up with Jim Harbaugh, if we end up with... There's about 3 or 4 different people that So let's get into this discussion. This kind of leads into the discussion I was making last week that you weren't around for. I said there were a few coaches out there. Bieniemy, Harbaugh, and the rumors that are still circulating about
Bill Belichick being let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if the Bears are already getting rid of their head coach and their GM, wouldn't it make sense for a guy like Bill Belichick to be the natural choice there? Now, I'm not saying I want him. I'm saying it's a logical choice.
It could be. It could.
But what do you think, as of right now? Those 3 we're the only ones contending for anybody. Nobody else needs a head coach. Let's put that out there. Who do you want?
If the Bears' job is the only one open,
yep,
and you're going to let go of Eberflus,
you're going to let's say you're letting go of your GM and your head coach.
Okay. I think I'm going to give you another name that the Bears could consider.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin, if the Steelers decide to go in another direction.
Okay.
He's not known as being an offensive or a defensive guy, but more of just a leader.
He's a good head coach. Yeah, I like that.
A good head coach and a leader. But I'm not a Steelers fan, so I don't know if I'd want Tomlin, but
you'd want Tomlin
I think
because it takes
looking
him
at
away
it,
from the
looking at it, I think I would almost want Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy's chances finally come up. Do you want how much of a power struggle, or how much flack could you get media-wise if it's Belichick comes to your team and the success doesn't come with that huge contract? And I think Harbaugh tends to kind of wear out his welcome after a couple of years because his ego kind of gets in the way. I think.
But do we need him any more than a couple of years?
No, not really.
That's the thing to me. Like, why do we need him more than a couple of years?
So I mean, for me, I mean, it's kind of, I'm kind of conflicted on. I'm kind of on the fence because yeah, the Bears have blown some games year of late. The Browns game and what was the other game recently
Lions,
that the Lions game, where it's kind of like head scratching. It's like, how'd they lose that game again? How are they up so much and you lose the game? But the defense has looked good.
Yeah. Yep.
The defense has looked good since they've gotten Montez Sweat in there.
Yeah, I can agree with
that. They're in the middle. They're essentially in year 2 of a rebuild.
Yeah.
To where I think that it wouldn't surprise me if Eberflus keeps the job because there's just so many there's so many coaching jobs that could be open this offseason, and there's only so many good hires to go around.
Yeah, I think that's but
you keep Eberflus.
Why?
And
I don't think there's a reason to keep Eberflus. I think you give the job to someone else.
His staff isn't going to come back. If he may survive, but his support staff will be rebuilt.
I still think you give it to anybody else. I don't see a reason to keep him at all. Fire Eberflus. Period. That's just that's my opinion. I know that's not. There's a lot of people that feel that way, but
I don't know. I mean, I just think with the Bears' history of maybe not getting the best candidate, but getting the most affordable candidate, is to where you could say, oh, we want Harbaugh or Belichick or Tomlin or Bieniemy.
I think
or
Bieniemy, and I think Bieniemy's probably cheap. That's why I think what I think is the thing. You're giving Bieniemy an opportunity he's not going to get anywhere else. He hasn't gotten anywhere else. Other teams have interviewed him. Other teams have basically said, no, we don't care. We're not hiring you. And because of that, to me it says he would be cheap. And I think he's the right guy for the job.
Yeah, he could be. So, I mean, I don't think I would be upset no matter what happens. But I think it's going to be Ryan Poles getting the chance to make the decision because he has done some good moves, except for the Chase Claypool trade. He has made some solid moves along as the GM, where I don't think the GM is going to be fired along with the head coach if Eberflus doesn't survive.
No, I totally agree with that. I could say that he made some good moves. He's done enough questionable things. I think that he could go away. I wouldn't be mad about it. Okay. Back to the let's get into week 15. Oh, wait, no, we still have to talk about the biggest issue of the week. We got to talk about how rude was it of the Tennessee Titans to wear Oiler throwback jerseys against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Kind of like the only thing that would have made it worse is that if somehow they wore those at a game in Houston, instead of in Nashville.
Yep, I can agree. Either way, it's a bad look, and I don't like it.
Did you see what J.J. Watt had to say about it?
No,
he was saying, well, we won the game. That means we get the jerseys.
Ooh.
That's just how this works.
I like it. I like that as a...
I mean, I still wanna see something along the lines of, what Michael Jordan and I think it was the Benson family did with the Hornets name, to where I think there was some financial compensation and they gave them the rights and history back of the Hornets franchise, so they could be renamed the Charlotte Hornets instead of from being the Bobcats when they came back as an expansion team. So I'd like to see the Houston Oilers be back as Houston instead of the Texans. But thinking about the Oilers throwbacks being used against a game against them, that'd almost be like if the Kansas City Chiefs did like Dallas Texans throwbacks against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. I am not thrilled about it. I think it's rude, and I think that obviously, by the nature of the beast, it is logistically and honestly their right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It, however, is still terrible. Like, it's a bad look. Like, it seriously is a bad look. And if I was a Houston fan, I'd be angry about it. If I was a Houston player, I'd be angry about it. I'm surprised, especially at a game like that. Like, if you want to play that, if you want to do that against some random team, fine, do it. But you show up in. I mean, the best comparison, by the way, the best comparison is one that we get all the time, though. It would be better. It would be the Chicago White Sox doing their original throwback jerseys to the Chicago Cubs back to when they were the White Stockings, wearing the White Stockings jerseys against the White Sox. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the closest equivalent that I can think of. Because technically the Cubs started their franchise as the Chicago White Stockings. That's why when the White Sox became the White Sox, they used that name. There wasn't as much thought that a team name like that was as big of a deal. So they'd let them have it just because. Anyway. I think it's rude and terrible, and I hope they get. I mean, there's no trouble, and nothing's ever going to come of it. I just think it's the rudest thing that they could do, and I think it's slightly without class. If I can, I don't want to say classless, but it was low class or low brow to do.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. I mean, I don't know. Don't do it again. Don't wear them against a game against Houston.
Yep.
Whether it's on the road or at home. Okay. All right, Mike. Power rankings.
Yeah, let's do it.
Power rankings.
Let's do 1 through 10 real quick. And number 1, I have the Baltimore Ravens.
I have the San Francisco 49ers here. So
Here's my argument. Okay.
Gotcha.
Game on the line, head to head.
Mm-hmm.
Which quarterback do you want to have the ball?
I think I kind of want Purdy with the way he's playing this year.
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan, but Lamar Jackson is way better than Brock Purdy, and yeah, I mean, he's been playing great, but don't get me wrong. I think at the end of a game, I want to see Baltimore. By all
means, I think Jackson is doing a lot more with less than what Purdy is. See, I thought when you were going, well, game on the line, which player do you want on the field? I thought you were going to go with the kicker, Justin Tucker, or the untested rookie, Jake Moody.
That's the other side of it. But even more, here's the ultimate one. It's overtime. You're the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get the ball first, or do you think your defense and which offensive team you get to pick which team? So, which offensive team do you think if you give them the ball is going to score the touchdown?
I think it would be San Francisco again. I think that Shanahan would go aggressive, and they'd march down the field and get that touchdown, and then you don't get to. You're going to be forced to tie the game instead of going just kicking the field goal. I mean, it won't. A touchdown doesn't end the game, but you're going to force the other team to score the touchdown instead of the field goal. Baltimore's defense is good, but it's not as good as it's been in the past.
A touchdown ends the game. It's a field goal. Or did they change
it? I thought both teams got a possession, regardless.
I don't remember any. They're messing with rules. Speaking of which, we got to talk about that today, too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if I were, I mean, I wouldn't be thrilled, but San Francisco's got a good defense, though, too. But I wouldn't want to, if I was San Francisco, I win the toss. I'm not saying I'm going to defer. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to take a chance that I don't get the ball back.
So, the overtime rules for the regular season. You are correct. No more than 10 minutes. In the regular season, if the opening team gets the ball first, that scores a touchdown in the opening possession, that's the end of a game. Let's see in playoffs, because that might be different now.
But by all means, I mean, this week's matchup between San Francisco and Baltimore will greatly. Obviously, if Baltimore wins that game, they're going to go number one for me.
They're
going to go number one to me.
In playoffs, each team will have the opportunity to possess the ball. So in playoffs only, postseason, each team gets to possess. In regular season, No, in regular season.
Well, go ahead.
Regular season, each team gets the ball unless the first team scores a touchdown. There is no unless. Every team gets it in the overtime period. Both teams get it.
Okay. Unless there is a defensive play which results in a touchdown.
Yes, unless
either
there's
a pick six or a safety.
Fumbles or a safety.
Fumble.
Yes. Yep. Correct. That is accurate. But
so anyway, so I went San Francisco at 1. I think with the way that the fashion that they've won a lot of games, and the teams that they've lost to, they have been kind of close games as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with San Francisco here.
Okay.
But the results of this head-to-head matchup could flip those two around for me. Mike, who did you have number 2?
Number 2, I have San Francisco.
Okay. So we were not far off. No. Number 3, I kept the Dallas Cowboys here.
Okay. Number 3 for me. I went to the wrong one. Sorry. Number 3, the Cowboys.
Okay.
I moved the Cowboys up to there, but yes, Cowboys. Number 4, I have the Detroit Lions.
I still have the Philadelphia Eagles here at 4. Okay. They're struggling right now as they're losing games at the wrong time of year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just really haven't been that impressed with the Lions because they can't seem to win on the road, and they're. It's tough to say. The only thing I can think of is their signature victory was that Week 1 win over the Chiefs, where they beat a team that didn't have Travis Kelce and Chris Jones. So they're also a team that they're winning the games they should be winning, but they really haven't been able to beat a teams with like records. So I have the Lions at number 5.
Number 5 is where I have the Miami Dolphins.
See, the Dolphins is where I have the Dolphins at 6 for the same reason as Detroit. They just can't beat teams with winning records.
Yeah, but that fact that they're losing games at the wrong time, that's why I have the Philadelphia Eagles at number 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
In 3 weeks, if the Eagles haven't righted the ship yet, you know what they're... First of all, at this point, if they lose one more game and Dallas doesn't, now Dallas wins the division. 2, that means they're going on the road and they have to play. They have to play someone. I mean, they have to play an extra game.
Mm-hmm.
They have to play that wild card game. I think that's bad news for them.
Yeah, and I mean, there's opportunities for the Eagles to get right, as they get the Giants at home this week. They get the Cardinals at home, and they go to New Jersey to face the Giants too. So there's opportunities for them to get right. And while Dallas
ends.
Well,
with
Dallas
Washington
gets
coming
at
in.
Miami versus Detroit, and then at Washington.
So that Washington game, ending the year, that should help them. But those 2 games, their next 2 games really are key for them. Against Miami, that's a hard game to put together.
Neither team has really been able to. Normally, has not done as well against teams over 500.
Yep.
And Miami's the same way. So I mean, by all means, I don't think Dallas will move off of 3, depending on the outcome of what the Dolphins do. But I could see the Lions and Dolphins moving down, possibly moving down, depending on what happens in their games this week, and even the Eagles if they do. So who do you have at numbers? You had Philly at 6, right?
Yep. Number 7, okay. I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Weird to have them this low this late in the season.
Yeah, I have them at 7 as well.
At number 8, Rich. Okay, No, let's talk about Kansas City.
No, I like Kansas City at 7. I mean, I think there's opportunities for them to get right as well. I mean, if anything, there's still a chance that they could get the number 1 overall seed, I think, in the conference, with Baltimore having a tougher schedule to end and Kansas City being more on the lighter side.
100%. 100%.
All right, number 8. This is where I put the Cleveland Browns.
Nope.
Okay.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right. I mean, I put Cleveland here because it seems like they're just finding ways to win games. Yep. How do you have a quarterback that throws 3 turnovers and yet still wins the game? He's had 2+ turnover games, like his 2 times he started, yet his team still finds a way to win the game.
I mean, the exact same argument could be made in reverse. How do you have a defense that has a +4 turnover rate and you still lose the game with the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
We'll get there soon enough.
Exactly. So my number 9 team is where I put Jacksonville here.
So number 9 is where I put the Houston Texans. Again, a team that I think is just finding ways to win.
Okay. Not a bad choice. So, and rounding out my top 10, I put the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, rounding out my top 10, I actually have the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
And honestly, I put the Browns down at 12, mostly because I hate the Browns.
Okay.
But
that's fair. That's fair.
Rich.
Yes.
Where do you have the? Let's go through. So we've done Detroit. Where's your who's your next team in the NFC North?
That would be the Minnesota Vikings at number 16.
I agree. 100% agree. That's the exact same spot I put them. I have them the number 1 of the 7-7 teams. Or no, I don't. No, I don't. Because I have.
I have them. Well,
I have the Broncos.
I'm surprised you haven't asked yet, but this is the first week where if the season ended today, you would be in the playoffs. So automatically, if you're a playoff team, you're in my top 16.
Okay, and that's fine.
So even though the Buffalo Bills have an 8-6 record, and I think taking out their record, I think that they're a better team than Seattle, Tampa, the Rams and the Vikings, they're not in the top 16 because
wow.
they're technically
Okay.
not a playoff team.
That does change the way I look at your top your list. That changes it a huge amount. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a
So
lot
I
more
had
sense.
to put the Bills a little bit lower than probably you have them because they're not a playoff team.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
not because of those that mid-season slide that they get into, that they got themselves into. But that's what happens when you're playing teams that have a similar record to you. You're not going to be able to win all those games. It's happening to the Chiefs right now, but the difference is they're also winning the games they should be winning.
Yeah, I don't. There are teams that yeah. Okay, let's move on. Finally, right before we get into the bottom list, I guess.
Well, where'd you put Green Bay?
I have Green Bay at 22.
I have them at 21.
Okay.
And where did you put the Bears before we get to our bottom 5?
Well, if you don't want to get to the bottom 5, then I can't tell you where I have the Bears.
Oh, okay. I have the Bears outside of the bottom 5, and I put them at 26, as I think that they're a better team than the New York Football Giants and the LA Chargers.
Nope. Here's why.
Okay.
I just touched on it. This team is going to end the season with I think it's going to be like a +8 turnover rate. And they're going to be this bad they have that low of a winning percentage. They are a terrible team. And the problem is I don't think they're a terrible team. I think they're a terribly coached team. This team can't do anything to get out of their own way. The coaching staff just is hindering this team. Here's a question. If the Bears fired Matt Eberflus when they should have 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whenever, would you then say that the Bears are in the bottom 25 because they don't have a head coach right now?
I think it would depend on how they played in those games underneath the interim head coach.
Sure, I can agree with that. But still, when you look at part of the reason that we look at the Chargers as such a terrible team is because now they're a team without a head. And when you're a team without a head coach, that really hurts you in the long run.
Okay, so for me, I put the Chargers lower because they had much higher expectations going into the season, and to see how badly they've done even this entire year. That's why I have put them at number 28.
So,
and I put the Giants below the Bears because I looked at, well, who have they beaten? Who have the two teams beaten? And quite frankly, the teams that the Giants have beaten, except for the Packers, they're all in the bottom 5 for me, being the Cardinals, the Commanders twice, and the Patriots.
Yep.
That's the only teams the Giants have been able to lose. So that's why I had to put the Bears and the Chargers, the Giants below the Bears.
I can't do it.
They're the same record, so I got to look at who they've beaten.
Now, shockingly.
So where did you put the Bears?
28.
28. Okay, so they're at least at the best of the worst in our rankings. I have the Chargers. So Mike, who did you put at number 29?
At number 29, I have the Washington football team.
I put the Commanders here as well. Number 30, Mike, I put the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I totally agree. And 31 and 32, I'm sure we have the exact same.
The Cardinals and the Panthers?
In that order.
All right.
Yeah. In that order. Okay. Rich, let's get into who your picks are for Week 16. With the lock of the week and it being my honors, I'm going to pick the Bills over the Chargers.
I like that pick. I was hoping that you wouldn't take it because that's the one I had my eye on. But yeah, those Chargers are the Bills are getting right at the right time.
Yep.
And they need to win to sneak their way into the playoffs.
Yep.
But for me, I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Raiders. The Chiefs need to get back on track, and I don't think that the Raiders can do what they did to the Chargers again. But the way my locks have been going, it wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders pull off a win because it's a divisional game.
Yeah, I was trying to stay away from divisional games, and there's a ton of them this week, which means that a lot of these teams are playing the same exact team in 2 weeks, as they also have divisional games at the end of the week, at the end of the year. Rich, my upset of the week, I'm going to go the Commanders over the Jets. I didn't think there were a lot of great upsets, and this is the best one, I think, of them all, especially with the Jets. Jets have some injury issues. I don't know.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to take the Buccaneers over the Jaguars in the Battle for Florida game.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence could be out with a concussion, so you're going to be looking at a backup quarterback. And Baker Mayfield's actually been playing pretty well. Decent for those Buccaneers. So I'll go with the Bucs. Mike, the Bears will have the Cardinals coming into Chicago.
Yep. Okay, they need to lose this game. They have to lose this game.
But will they lose this game?
More reason why Matt Eberflus should be fired. Probably not. They'll probably win. On paper, they should. On paper, they should destroy them. But I don't think they will. I think they'll lose. I think they'll eke out the victory. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Cardinals over the Bears, or the Bears over the Cardinals, or the Cardinals over
the Bears.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. Cardinals.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bears here, because I think whether Eberflus wins out or Eberflus loses out, or if it's coming down from the front office, you need to lose. You need to lose, but make it look competitive. I think the front office probably already made up their mind to where it isn't like Eberflus is coaching for his job. I think the team has already made up their mind on whether he's coming back next year or whether he's going to be gone.
So the
so
Bears,
I don't think it matters whether they lose out, win out.
But let me make some.
But they should lose out.
They should lose out. 100%. They need to lose out. Here's why. One, if they lose, the Cardinals go into 4-11, or 4-11. The Bears drop down to 5-10. The week 17, the Cardinals then go and play. Who do they play again? They play Philadelphia. That'll be a loss. That's fine. But if on the last week of the year, Arizona is playing. Are they playing Seattle? In Arizona.
Yep. Seattle's going to be contending for a playoff spot. I mean, while the other teams are along with them, the Commanders get a tough schedule after this Jets game, getting the Niners and the Cowboys. Those are probably going to be 2 losses for them.
Arizona. It's a divisional game, so you never count on it. So Arizona might win that game. Pulls it off. Let's say they pull it off. Now they're the same record as the Bears. And then you have Bill Belichick. When has Bill Belichick ever decided to lose a game?
Yep. Bill Belichick gets the Broncos this week to Buffalo, and then they welcome the Jets in the town.
They win 2 of those games.
The year.
Guess what? We are now back in contention for the number 2 overall pick. Now we need the Redskins or the Commanders to win one of those games. 1 game 2. But if all of that, which is very possible, if all of that were to happen, the Bears could end up the number 2 overall seed, as well as the number 1 overall seed. The Bears need to lose out. And if they don't, fire Matt Eberflus. And hire back Lovie Smith.
Okay. By comparison, just so you're aware, Mike, the Panthers, they face the Packers this week. They go to Jacksonville, and then they stay in Florida. Then they welcome the Bucks up to Charlotte.
Yeah. Again, they could.
So there's a chance that the Panthers could drop those last 3 games and lock in the number 1 pick for the Bears. But I think it's really big that the Bears need to find a way to still stay in the top 5.
Yeah.
I think it's a slim chance that they can work their way back, lose their way back to being to the number 2 pick. But I think they could easily be at least in the top 5 with their own pick.
I totally agree. Okay. With that, Rich, last Thursday night game of the year?
Yeah.
Jets Browns, who you got?
I'm going to take the Brownies on this one. They're finding ways to win, and that Jets team is about the only plus that they're getting out of this season is that they don't have to give their first round pick to the Packers, since Aaron Rodgers didn't play the X amount of snaps because he got hurt in week 1.
Yep. So I'm going to pick the Browns as well. I don't think it matters either way. I think they win. And with that, let's head off of football and talk some baseball real quick, and then we'll give you a spoiler alert.
Yeah, you did a nice job kind of summarizing the Ohtani contract. You did correctly kind of predict that there was going to be deferred money in that deal. I would have never thought that it was going to be $68 million
per year
of deferred per year. So for the next 10 years, he's only going to make $2 million.
$20 million total.
$20 million total during the life of that contract.
$680 million.
This is when I'm almost surprised that the Players Association or the MLB didn't step in and say, no, you can't defer that much money.
Does this create the Shohei Ohtani rule?
I almost wonder if it could. Because, if anything, they have a lot of deferred money on Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, too, to where
they were able to spend more money.
Yeah.
Rich.
Yeah, and they just signed, I'm probably going to butcher the name, but Fujikawa Yoshi, I know the last name is Yamamoto. I think it's Fuji Yoshimoto Yokohama. By all means, he was a 3-time Cy Young, the equivalent of the Cy Young in Nippon Baseball League over in Japan. 3 times, the last 3 time he's won the last 3 Cy Young awards over in Japan. But he's now the highest paid pitcher in baseball, and he hasn't even pitched a single inning in the league history yet.
2 guys they're paying a total of $1.25 billion.
Granted, Ohtani's is not going to be paid out until 10 years down the road. But in theory, they have signed guys to $1.2 billion worth of free agent contracts for 2 players.
300 years, or 10 years.
And they probably traded for one of the best pitchers available on the trade market in Tyler Glasnow, and they went and handed him an extension.
Are you ready to put a prediction that I will put it right now. Dodgers win the World Series.
They almost need to. How many World Series do they need to win for them not to look back on these financial commitments?
Here's the
problem.
Say,
wow, what were we thinking at the time?
Here's the problem. Baseball is very competitive. Winning 3 in 10 years is huge. Look back at the Giants in the early 2000 teens. Mm-hmm. We look at that as an amazing at the early the 2000. I guess it would have the early teens. We look at that as an amazing team. They won 3 every other year. We'll look at the Cardinals doing the same thing the opposite years. I think 3 in 10 years is a reasonable expectation. But with the amount of money and all of that, I think they got to win at least 4.
Mm-hmm.
They have to win 40% over the next decade.
Yeah. But, I mean, what's going to happen in years... Is it 2037 is when they got to start paying out the other 18 million per year?
No, 2033, 34.
34. So
2034.
what's going to happen in 34, 35, 37 when the bill comes due, and you could potentially be paying 3 guys on deferred payments that are no longer on your team because they're retired or they've moved on to other teams.
Do the Dodgers hope at that point they can sign him to an extension, deferring that money out,
and deferring it out even longer, even kicking the can
over a
further down the
20-year
road
span, and kick it down even further? That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know what they do, but either way, it's a ridiculous spot to be in, and good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck. Okay. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Rich, what is this?
That's the Masked Singer.
Spoiler alert.
That's right.
We're going to talk about it. If you don't want to hear about it, that's fine. We get it. This is a sports podcast. We talk about sports, and once in a while, we'll mess around and talk about, every week when it's on the air. And this is the last one for a while. We talk about the Masked Singer. So come with us and let's talk about it. If you don't want to listen to us, check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And if Rich, they're listening in podcast land, but they want to see our pretty faces, how else could they do that?
Well, Mike, you can check us and look us up on YouTube for the video feed of our show. Mike, if they are watching us here on YouTube or here on Facebook, but they want to take us on the road and they just want to hear the audio, where can they find us?
I already said wherever they listen to podcasts.
Oh, but I'm sorry. I was looking up something. My apologies, Mike.
If you want to participate in our poll questions or any of that, check us out wherever. Or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/ballsand6 and fans of Balls and Six. With that, let's talk about the final episode of the
Masked Singer.
The Masked Singer, yeah. So we had
4 people get unmasked in
yeah.
this 2-hour season finale,
Yep.
Mike. By all means, I thought all 4 performances that was their best performance out of the entire season, except for I thought that I didn't like the Donut's first performance. I thought that I didn't like. I really thought that his best performance was Georgia on My Mind last week compared to what he did this week.
I thought
singing
I'm
both
disagree.
of his songs this week.
I totally disagree. I think You Are So Beautiful, especially. Here's the deal
with the story behind it. You're So Beautiful, yeah, it was a good choice for the way they wrote the storyline.
He did a great job. So, first the cow, the gazelle, the sea queen, and the donut go up. In 4th place, the person that Rich and I both agreed was the worst of the top, but still I think deserved to be in the finale.
No, nope.
Rich,
I don't think that she deserved to be there.
Time out. Let's do this right now. You want to do this?
Okay.
Let's do this right now.
That's fine.
If you take the sea queen out, who in group B or C do you put in?
I put the Tiki in.
I don't think so.
No, I see. So. For me, I did not like the Sea Queen's performance on her first night on the show when she came out as a wild card. I did not think that she. I thought that she should have gone home on her wild card first night on the show, let alone making it all the way to the finals. But she really did redeem herself based on what she did previously, though. For me, when you perform Rock Night and you didn't perform a rock show, a rock number. That for me sold. For me, wrote it off for me. But I know they probably don't necessarily get to choose their show, get to choose their song. They're told this is going to be the show. Well, this is going to be the song that we're going to have you sing.
So which one was Rock Night? I forget. Was that her first one?
No, I think that was her second one.
Yeah.
That was the elimination night. I think from that. I just did not like.
Fine.
I didn't like the Sea Queen, but I will admit that she did really well on the season finale night. On the series finale?
I don't think anybody that she went up against was any better, so I was fine with that. And she in fourth place was
Macy Gray. And in all honesty, as soon as the two panelists were saying, I think it's Macy Gray. Yep, this one's Macy Gray, and here's why. Her fate was already sealed that she was going to be the first one.
Yeah.
First one unmasked.
And then at that time, they also eliminated number 3, the Gazelle. By the way, her rendition of Chasing Cars. Woo! So good.
Yeah, I was almost surprised that she did place in third place.
Yeah.
But it was tough. I'm glad that the donut and the cow did go head to head, because the cow's 2 performances that night were probably his best and my favorite of his throughout the entire season this year.
Yep.
But the cow, not the cow, the Gazelle was Janelle Parrish.
Yeah.
Who, best known for being a villain on the show Gossip Girl.
Never seen that show.
Neither have I. But she was good. I mean, it wasn't Constance Wu who was the entire reason why Ken saved her, but I think it was a worthy save when
I agree.
Looking at who could have been saved off of B and C. As much as I would have liked to have seen the Tiki there, if you had done a night where, I think it would have been tough to do that. The Gazelle probably was better if there was a night where you took the runners up from each group and put them on their own show for them to kind of win their way onto the finals. I think that the Gazelle probably would have come out of that hypothetical group.
Yep. So then they went back and had the donut and the cow go up against each other. Both did really well, and the donut was then unmasked as the runner-up, singing "Drift Away." I thought he did a good job with that, and that was John Schneider as Bo Duke, famous for being Bo Duke.
Yeah, I was really surprised by it, but we sent Josh Couture. He was a big Dukes of Hazzard fan growing up, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the show, but yeah, John's a great singer.
Yeah,
great singer. He's known for. I mean, it's true. He was honest about in his clue packet saying, I'm not known for being a singer.
Yeah, he's not known, but yeah, he is a great singer.
But he's put out albums and he's done TV specials.
I legitimately early on said it was Tom Jones. So I think I said it on the show even. When the panelists were guessing Tom Jones, I was like, yeah, I got it. Yes, I'm gonna win. Turned out it wasn't. And then the winner was the cow, which was Neo.
Yeah.
So he is best known as a songwriter and a producer, but he does sing. So yeah, it was great. He did a great job singing, and I think either one would have been fine as a good person to win that match.
Yeah, I think this was the first season. I mean, my wife said this was the first season where I wouldn't have been upset with who won. Most every season, I've been very opinionated about. No, this person's got to win. I really want this person to win. Outside of what?
Sea Queen.
No, I was just looking at the final 2.
Oh, okay.
I was only considering the final 2. this would have been the first season where I wouldn't have been upset with no matter with who won.
Okay, and I can agree with that. So, okay. Rich, and finally, we won our match on Monday. We don't have any updates for the next 2 weeks as we are out of. We're on Christmas break, so next 2 weeks we don't have anything.
Oh, very nice, cool.
So, okay. With that, Rich, what's it time to do?
You know, I don't know.
We have shout-outs, actually.
I'll let you. Oh yeah, shout-outs. Yeah, you threw me off. I almost thought it was time to do the other thing.
Once again, we have to say happy anniversary to you and your wife. 13
Thank
years.
you. Thank you.
Proud of you guys. I'm glad I was able to stand up there with you guys and put my seal of approval on that. And then outside of that, my cousin Adam Kapler, his birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday, Adam. With that, let's roll the outro. That is the intro. That's the outro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.